rub, to scrape off, to stop. The notion of play is something I feel is very important to aesthetics. The philosopher Immanuel Kant understood art and aesthetics as a kind of free play of the imagination and the understanding. In painting, I feel it's about an interplay of signs, signifiers, gestures and marks, though these play together and can emerge from the fires of chaos and can become ordered or understood. The creative process itself can be considered chaotic, happening by chance. Forms emerge from chaos, like the idea of chaos theory. For example, this Pollock painting from 1951 shows a human figure emerging from the chaos or play of marks and gestures. A sign is formed. Max Ernst, the surrealist, he used chance and chaos as a basis for his paintings and works. He used to take scrubbings from things like floorboards to see what images would emerge. They were called frottages and grattages, like these. This is 100,000 doves, and you can see how it kind of relates to Pollock. It's called The Beautiful Season, and you can actually see it kind of relates again to the cave painting kind of motifs, and he's scrubbed at the floorboards and come up with this horse image. And then we have the Way of Leaves, and here you can really see that it's been scrubbed from the floorboards, and you get that kind of texture going. Yes. Where these scribbles come from? The point is that painting and drawing are processes. They have a time, and a single painting or autonomous... The point is that painting and drawing and speaking and remembering your lines are processes. They have a time, and a single painting or drawing is only ever the final autonomous moment or trace of that activity. This is why we can perhaps go beyond painting to painting animation, painting having a time as well as a space. Derrida in his Truth in within frames, like those Chinese dolls you open up. In the same way, painting can go beyond its frame into different mediums. As I have already demonstrated, a painting can become a photograph becomes an animation becomes a video. This is what Rosalind Krauss has identified as the post-medium condition. There is no such thing as medium specificity anymore. A painting can go beyond its frame into many frames. A lecture can be broken down into many frames and signs, moments of activity.
A lecture can be broken down into many frames and signs, moments of activity.
Indeed, capturing moments of activity or animation has been around for a long time. Edward Muybridge is here capturing the moments and movements of a horse. Indeed, frames of activity are present in infers the next. The idea of the process of a painting developing. The idea of a painting progressing or breaking down, just like words will, has interested me, and last year I took photos of a painting that developed like this. Even the artist Francis Bacon was very interested in this dialectic between photography and painting. Here we have a picture of him photographing himself with a camera, and this led to the painting of him with a camera. Signs are in a kind of transformative flux. Painting itself concerns itself with transformation, activity, change, from chaos to order, order to chaos, which leads to the last segment, titled Painting as a Form of Alchemy. Alchemy can be defined as turning base substances into something higher, such as gold. Its ideas were rooted in notions of transformation or transmutation. It was also seen as a spiritual or psychological process, from chaos to order, from darkness to light, from death to a kind of rebirth or resurrection. From the fires arises the phoenix. Alchemical processes have played an underlying factor in art from the Renaissance as a Hermetic tradition and has influenced the likes of Duchamp, Yves Klein, Rebecca Horn, Joseph Beuys and Leona Carrington, as well as specifically the Surrealists. Carl Jung was the first to identify the psychological impact of alchemy. The science of signifiers in alchemy act as a kind of first system of psychological signs or spiritual signs. From the prima materia, or base substances, or chaos of a painting, emerge these psychological, spiritual signs in a state of flux and transformation. My own painting animations have been deeply influenced by 17th century engravings of alchemical signs. Here we have some examples of such alchemical signs, and it's, again, this process of different types of birds and creatures, that it's this whole idea of transforming from base substances or darkness into light, and it's this whole idea of rebirth and change. And here we have such things as the swan, the phoenix, the dragon, and they all correspond to kind of different psychological states. And again, here we have the snake eating its own tail, which is a form of chaos, but we have the phoenix, which is this triumph beyond chaos. And here is some frames of my animation. Here, this play of or transformation of signifiers have a kind of spiritual or psychological meaning, especially within the frames of animation. The complete animation itself is a kind of philosopher's stone. Even the earliest forms of photography and cinema can be and were seen in terms of alchemical processes. It's interesting that the last stage in the alchemical process is called projection, like the projection of an animation on a wall or screen. Projection was first described by AnimatedLecture in 1646, where images of demons and phantoms were again interestingly shone through hand-painted glass slides, as you can see up here. So each of these are kind of painted slides, and the light was shone through. You've got these like images of demons and phantoms. It's very like alchemical. In Victorian England, and in relation to this, here's an early image of a developing box, and it's again this like idea of sitting within a box, this projection. Is animation, and specifically photographic development techniques, use the chemical process of sulfur and mercury, which is also an alchemical process. Thus, painting for time association, constant flux. Alchemy describes things as transforming, emerging from chaos and becoming clear before, again, falling into chaos, like the flow of a painting or animation, or like Derrida's theory of deconstruction, where a theory can collapse as soon as it becomes into being. Like a lecture that can collapse in on itself, returning to the ashes of the fire, the prima materia, the base substance, the first lick of paint on the screen, blah, 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 blah.